Story 1, Cooking. My wife and I randomly took a cooking course and it changed how we eat. Then we got into Texas barbecue and started making traditional Mexican and Asian food. It has been amazing. Story 2. Learning a foreign language is easily one of the most enriching and life-changing hobbies I have had. It changes your brain in wonderful ways and opens up nuances of an entirely different culture. It is remarkable. Story 3. Photography. Started as a way to keep me occupied as I quit my addictions. Now I am clean, and I have been exhibited all over the world. As a man who works in construction, this is a constant head shaker to me. Story 4. Martial arts. Most people find it awkward at first, it is true, but I have seen many people go from nervous in their first week to absolutely enthusiastic by their third week. It is also a great mental break from life. When you are sparring or doing intense drills, you are not thinking about your electric bill or that upcoming work review. You are fully focused on the moment. Story 5. Golf. I became entitled, spoiled, and part of a culture I never felt I belonged to. Quitting golf has been the most enlightening experience I have had. Story 6. Going to the gym and eating and drinking healthier has saved me from my heroin, fentanyl, and Xanax addiction. Story 7. Fishing is something I love. Being by the water catching delicious fish. Although it can be frustrating at times, it is always worth it. Story 8. I have not done it in a while, but trail running, specifically in the mountains. There is something freeing about being able to look at a mountain or desert trail and knowing you can make it to the end. Story 9. Embroidery. I took it up when I decided to get sober. The intense focus helped keep me calm and keep my cravings away. Plus, I love being creative. Puts me in a meditative state. I am over 4 years sober. Story 10. Volunteer proofreading at distributed proofreaders. Once I started, I was hooked. I have been doing it for almost 14 years. Some days I spend hours proofreading. Story 11. Write fanfiction about my favorite series. Feels like entering another world. Currently, I am writing fanfiction about the Special Weapons and Tactics and Blue Blood series. I am watching them repeatedly at the moment. The story is titled Like Father, Like Daughter. I have published 3 chapters on Wattpad. Story 12. Surfing. I built my life around it. I first tried it at 12 years old. I made it a life goal to live at the beach because of it. I achieved this in my early 20s. As a result, my kids are all surfers too. Now in my mid-50s and still surfing every chance I get. I am looking to retire somewhere warm year-round with waves. Story 13. Picking up a musical instrument. Self-taught guitarist here. I am not particularly good, but the focused state of mind you get when you start playing whatever you want is the best escape from reality. It is far better than what you get from drugs or alcohol. Even working out or playing video games does not provide the same distraction or escape I am talking about. It feels closer to deep meditation, yet more engaging. Story 14. Attending yoga classes. While the deep breathing really helped my mental recharge, the main reason was that I could not be late to class because they would not accept latecomers. I would then lose my money as the class was non-refundable. This led me to being 15 to 30 minutes early to everything in my life. Story 15. Videography. I picked it up as a hobby after playing with video cameras since I was a teenager. I am 38 years old now. I did full-time food videography for 3 years between 2016 and 2019. And it absolutely changed the trajectory of my life for the better. I am not doing that job anymore, but without the food videography job, I would literally never be where I am today. Story 16. I am a historical European martial arts practitioner. I started because it seemed like something fun to try, discovered there were tournaments, I like competition even though I am not great at it, and that was that. 11 years later, I am now married to someone I met through this hobby, and while I was a city girl, I now live happily on a homestead with a large menagerie. I still compete at tournaments. I am nowhere near a traditional wife, but my other hobby is fiber arts. And the idea of being able to make my own yarn is pretty cool. Story 17. Roller derby. I met some of my closest friends there and my husband. The friends are the most important, obviously. Story 18. Photography. I met one of my best friends and traveled to Los Angeles for an unforgettable adventure. It also brought my wife into my life. Story 19. Streaming video games. I used to avoid talking in groups because I felt that what I said was not as important, funny, or worth listening to as what others said. I would only play single-player games because I had no one who liked playing with me. I decided to stream in the hope of having someone to talk to while playing those single-player games. I gained confidence, made friends, and felt appreciated for being myself. Having people enjoy my talking and forming a wholesome community means so much to me. Story 20. Working out got me into all my other hobbies, I think. It taught me how to make positive habits, how much I can improve if I do it every day, and gave me the discipline to keep doing them. Story 21. Fishing. After I was laid off during the coronavirus pandemic, it renewed my appreciation for the ocean and nature in general. Story 22. Playing guitar and music. It has literally saved my life multiple times. I have learned so much from playing music. It has helped me escape family emotional abuse, allowed me to express myself better, and led me to my current career path in healthcare through experiences related to music. I do not know who I would be without it. Story 23. Skiing is such an adrenaline rush and a great way to experience phenomenal mountain views and unforgettable moments. Story 24. Cooking. I used to be so bad I couldn't even make a box of Annie's Shells mac and cheese correctly. But I have been cooking for several years now, and I am glad I can cook consistently for myself without relying on frozen and boxed dinners or takeout. It is a skill that I do not feel should even be considered a flex. Story 25. Skateboarding taught me the value of getting back up and trying again and again. Story 26. Playing guitar always calms me down and takes my mind off things. Besides meditation, it is the single most useful skill I have ever learned. I never anticipated its impact on my life growing up. Story 27. Fishing. Just being out in nature, on the lake by myself, right at sunrise, when it is so quiet, calm, and peaceful. I do not think I would have made it past the suicide of my girlfriend without it. It literally saved my life. Edit. I only catch and release. Story 28. Pole dance and fitness. The extra skin and softness on my thighs literally saved my neck more than once, and I no longer view those areas with harsh judgment. I also paint for extra credit. Although I don't paint myself that often, I use my body as a reference for poses and body parts one can incorporate into my art. So when I paint someone, it helps me love myself more because I love them, if that makes sense. Story 29. Gardening is a great way to relax my mind after long hours at work, and a good way to get fresh air after working at my desk all day. Every year, I learn something that helps me improve the following year. It is very rewarding to see beautiful things that I cared for and helped grow. I mostly grow flowers, and it brings me much joy to occasionally give a bouquet to my friends and neighbors. Story 30. My hobby was browsing the internet in my free time. I know it sounds simple, but it changed my life. That curiosity about how people interact with technology sparked my journey into product design. Now, I am driven every day to make those experiences smarter, simpler, and more meaningful. Story 31. Crochet, also known as forced patience and extreme focus. I love crochet products, especially amigurumi, because it is crochet and I cannot afford the pre-made items. I picked up my neglected materials and forced myself to learn, out of spite if you will. It took a lot of patience and frustration, but the end result always makes me feel accomplished. Story 32. Making miniatures. I knew I was creative and I am good at coming up with novel ideas. It is an endless creative journey. Everywhere I walk in the world, I capture inspiration. Story 33. Figure skating made me realize how woefully out of shape I am. It also made me realize how much effort and determination can make up for talent and that it takes a lot of effort to get anywhere. Story 34. Tracking is all about pattern recognition and baseline disturbances. Pattern recognition is the key factor. Eventually, you will start to reflect on your past and recognize your own patterns, family patterns, and so on. Story 35. Swing dancing is the perfect combination of sport. I sweat more dancing than I do playing squash or going to the gym, and socializing with almost exclusively highly educated people of the opposite sex. It takes place in a fun, unique, and usually classy environment with good vibes and no pressure to drink alcohol. Plus, it's incredibly fun, addictive, and unlocks a part of your brain you didn't know existed. It also creates an amazing opportunity for solo travel, as the community is uniquely friendly with amazing events around the world. I actually ended up living on the other side of the world as a result. Story 36. Returning to the gym after a 10 or 11-year hiatus. I am now more insecure than when I was in senior year. Story 37. Running with my dog. She is a border collie, so she definitely needed the exercise. As she was initially scared of my bike, I decided to force myself to finally become a runner. I am much fitter than I was 5 years ago. I do not run for speed. I run for distance and, more recently, a combination of Zone 2 and distance, and it has made such a difference. I completed the Couch to 5K program, but I struggled transitioning to running the whole distance, so I did 45-minute runs with intermittent walking only when absolutely necessary. Soon, I was able to run 5Ks. Now I have comfortably completed half marathons and even the occasional 30K. Running for more than 2 hours at a time tends to leave me really sore, so I rarely do that, but I run at least 25 kilometers in total most weeks. I am not significantly lighter or less fat than I was before running, but I can do a whole day's labor, such as digging the garden or heavy DIY work, without feeling exhausted. Also, I can pretty much walk forever now. Story 38. Working out and weightlifting. Do not get me wrong. I have been doing this for many years now, so my body does not look average. However, my energy is better regulated than it has been before. Story 39. Bicycle motocross. I was one of those mentally and emotionally unstable people who came from an unstable home and was statistically supposed to have a long criminal record. But unlike many of the people I grew up around, I found something to keep me out of real trouble with bicycle motocross. Story 40. Scuba diving was the first activity in my life where I could turn everything else off and just be in the moment. I have been diving for 15 years now and have completed close to 700 dives. I tell my husband all the time that he gave me the gift of fish. It is truly my happy place. Story 41. Dancing. When I am focused on learning a new move or new choreography, I am completely in the moment and not thinking about anything else. It helps me clear my mind and get out of a funk. Story 42. Playing chess forces me to face my own failure and learn. It is a very entertaining sport with YouTube and streaming platforms making content about it. Story 43. Motorcycling. I just got into it recently. I am enjoying it and hope to continue enjoying it for many years to come. Story 44. Knitting, learned from a fellow patient in mental health treatment. Going on 10 years now, and I am also in a much better place mentally. Story 45. Knitting and listening to audiobooks have helped greatly in relieving my anxiety and handpicking issues. My nails have actually grown for the first time, and I have gotten some cool clothing from it. Story 46. Collecting action figures is so much fun. I love doing it. I am well past 40 and have a large collection. Story 47. Gardening. I have always had small gardens on and off, but last year, I became very enthusiastic. Something about a reality television personality being in power again motivated me. It felt good to expand my gardens continuously, start composting, and learn the details of advanced gardening. My gardens now produce year-round and are productive. My wife and I sell at the local farmers market. The looks on people's faces admiring my produce are rewarding. It is simply enjoyable. Customers line up before opening to purchase our goods. This morning we arrived, and a lady was sitting in a lawn chair in our spot. My wife was a little nervous asking her to move so we could set up. The lady was waiting for us and brought a chair. Story 48. Sailing. I started at a club learning to sail dinghies, then got the itch. About 5 years later, I saved up and bought my first big boat. That has blossomed into learning new skills, how to fix things, and how to work on engines and electronics. I like the process, and it makes me feel more handy and knowledgeable. Story 49. Skiing turns my mind completely off and makes me feel free. flying through the snow with the beautiful mountains around me. Mountain biking is second, but it will never replace skiing. Story 50, knitting. I took it up in 2008 because my favorite professor was a knitter and she taught me how. My house is now full of beautiful yarn, and I have many hand-knitted sweaters and hats. Last Christmas, I made everyone in my family a hat from my National Parks hat book, and I think they were the hit of Christmas. Story 51, hot rod repair. I took a class on autobody structural repair at a local vocational college. They taught me welding and how to repair dents and paint. In the second semester, they allowed me to bring in my own project. Now, I attend class on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights from about 4 to 9 p.m., repairing my 1968 El Camino. I am the only female in the class, and I never thought I would be doing something like this. But it is really fun. Story 52. First-person view drones offer the thrill of flying like Superman. They taught me to control my emotions as you travel 100 kilometers per hour through tight gaps and need to keep flying when you pass through them. Story 53. Keeping a freshwater aquarium and exercising daily for at least 20 minutes. I have not skipped a day since December 20th, 2024. Story 54. Getting into watching women's football has become a significant part of my life, and I love it. It has definitely changed my life because I am part of a large worldwide community that is amazing and full of great people. Story 55, chess. It takes an enormous amount of time and energy just to get a little better. Waste of time and money. Forget it. I am going to go play Blitz for an hour. Story 56. Hobby that changed my life? Magic and sleight of hand. Kept me from Social Security 7 times. That said, when I pursued that hobby with my passion, I broke a world record and was a former top performer at Magic Castle 2. Life is wild. Story 57. Photography teaches you to see the beauty in everything, even in the ugly, the mundane, and the simplest things. Story 58. Guitar. I started pretty late in life, but it has been my best pastime. From noodling after work to playing gigs around town. I never thought that would be in my book. Story 59. Golf. Seriously stressful and at the same time deeply enjoyable when everything goes right. And yet completely meaningless. Story 60. Reading. Since I started reading, I have learned to understand the meaning behind the lines and words, and since then, I see people and life situations differently. Story 61. Skydiving for me. I went through a really bad breakup a couple of years ago and just didn't care about anything anymore. It really jumpstarts your brain in an interesting way, and there are a few really complicated disciplines between safety, free flying, and free fall, some of the incredible maneuvers you can do under a parachute, and even the rigging and maintenance services for equipment. After a year, I have only scratched the surface, but I will probably keep going for the rest of my life. Story 62. Gym changed a lot about my physical appearance, mental strength, sacrifice, dedication, and mindset. Literally a $25 a month life changer. I started coding software as a hobby and turned it into my career, so that also changed my life significantly. Story 63. I have been bicycling my whole life. I got an electric bicycle when I was 50 because of my back, but I plan to keep riding. Story 64. Fishing. So much time and money spent. So many late nights and early mornings. So many great memories made with friends as well as on my own. I look at the ocean differently, knowing what could be there, even if I am not fishing. Taking note of the wind, the water clarity, temperature, even visible river currents or sandbars. It is pretty great. Story 65. Making craft bean-to-bar chocolate is so fun. There are infinite combinations of beans, percentages, inclusions, and flavors. I give it to friends, family, and work colleagues. Needless to say, it also makes me very popular when I have it with me. Plus, my house generally smells amazing. Story 66. Exercise includes lifting weights and related activities, such as meal preparation, sleep, and hydration. It is the best therapy. Story 67. Herbalism. I have conducted research on plant medicine and found herbs that helped me with several physical ailments. Plant medicine truly works and is very fulfilling. For example, I make a blend for cramps, and it works wonderfully. Story 68. Getting back into playing soccer seriously as a working adult after moving to a new city started 15 years ago. It is why I have the friends I have. It has improved my physical fitness and overall health continuously over the years. It has enhanced how I view myself and others I work with as people. It has piqued my interest in philosophy and given me a view of self that reveals something new every time I play. I could continue, but the only thing that surpasses this passion in my life is my wife. I have no idea what my life would be like if I had not thought to get back into soccer. I will keep playing as long as my body allows. Story 69. Warhammer helped me find a fun creative outlet by learning to paint. It is also nice to spend an evening not looking at a screen. In addition, I have made a few proper friends from playing games and tournaments together. Story 70. Mountain biking. After discovering proper single-track riding, it was instant love that progressed quickly through cross-country, trail, and downhill. Within a year, I quit my job, packed my belongings, and moved to Whistler. I ended up coaching for a few years and now still live in the area. I bike several days a week, made the West Coast my permanent home, and started a family. Life would be very different without that discovery. Story 71. Going to the gym has helped my mental health so much. It helps me decompress after a long day of teaching and has led to some great friendships and joining a beer league sports team. This is in addition to all of the health and longevity benefits of lifting weights and running. Story 72. I had many health problems as a child, most of which were resolved through swimming. Doctor said I might not have lived past 10 years old if I had not started swimming. Story 73. Making jewelry. I had a neurological event not otherwise specified, which means something happened but the cause is unknown. My neurologist advised me to take up knitting or another activity to improve eye-hand coordination and dexterity to address a hand tremor. He also said it would help with focus and anxiety. He was right. I eventually became very good at it. At first, I was barely able to make anything. I went on to co-found a nonprofit that helped at-risk women work through trauma and self-esteem issues by making jewelry and learning how to sell it. It changed my life and the lives of others. Story 74. Many people in this thread seem to have discovered a new hobby as a way to escape drug or alcohol use. This leads me to believe that I need to start doing more drugs and consuming alcohol. Story 75. Writing was my creative outlet in high school, but I stopped during college. Now, after the pandemic, I make money from it. Story 76. Reading. I was always into it, but school made me drop it for a while. I met a girl on Tumblr, picked it back up again, and we eventually started dating. Later on, it helped me win over my current boss in a job interview. Story 77. I was adopted but had my file opened about 10 years ago. I have spent all these years building my family tree and getting to know my siblings. This is the best thing I have ever done for myself. Story 78. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But not for the reasons you are thinking. I can no longer have sex without some part of my brain checking my underhooks and overhooks. Story 79. Running. At the beginning, it is hard, but when you get used to it, the feeling of detox you experience after intense training is fantastic. In my case, I like to run a half marathon abroad every year, so you also discover new places and meet new people. Taking running seriously can be quite useful not just for your physical health, but also for your mental well-being. Story 80. I really like this question. Not to get too deep for a simple question, but I think your hobby or passion in life is one of the most important aspects of living, not your job. I like the question, what do you like to do? Instead of, what do you do? Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.